But for me personally, I am much more of a yes/no person of, am I a person you want on the team? Yes. Am I somebody you see as a part of this organization? Yes. Am I somebody that's going to go to the next step to having an interview? No. Okay. Why? But again, those are like the first two. Those are great because I like you. I think you would work well together. Yeah, I think you do well in the company, but I don't think you're gonna do well in the territory. I don't think this is right for you with what we have going on, or different things from that part of it. So.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 10 of the Fisher Search Group podcast. I'm your host, Brett Fisher, and today we've got a story and a guest that's going to hit home for anyone in the trenches of sales, interviewing, or just trying to get to the next level. This episode is about grit, real talk, and what makes someone stand out, not just in interviews, but in life. So joining me is someone who's seen it all: multiple industries, startup grind, capital sales, and one of the most intense personal health wake-up calls I've ever heard. Please welcome my guest on today's episode, Joshua Stein. Welcome to the program, Josh.
Brett, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to sharing what I know and what life has given me to share and to embark on your viewers and who's coming into their new field and their new adventures.
I love it. I love it. And if you're watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment below if this episode hits home for you. Share it with someone who you know who's job hunting or hiring right now, who has a personal story similar to Josh. So let's kick it off with your career journey. Take us all the way back to the beginning. I heard you swore that you'd never get into sales. So how did you do it?
I mean, sales, like, you're growing up and I grew up, 90s and stuff like that, not to date myself too much, but you're there and you're like, well, you don't want to be the car salesman. You don't want to be that dirty, like kind of sleazy carpetbagger type of salesperson. And it's like, then I get to college and I start doing marketing and I start, talking to different people and trying to convince people to vote for this or that at the referendum at the college. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And then I get out of school and you start looking at the jobs that are available to you and you're like, wait, salespeople make how much? And what's the jobs that are available to me? So I took my first job out of college, and that was August of 2001. Mm-hmm. And, a month later, the world kind of came to a stop, obviously, at that point.
Oh, right. Yes.
It just kind of, but I love sales. I love the conversation. I love meeting with new people, talking, the engagement. And at the end of the day, it was the win. That inner athlete in me just kind of got that satisfaction. Like, you got that win, you got that shot, that adrenaline rush was coming every single time you got that hit. So from there, I was able to hone my skills and really kind of grow into my next steps at that point. So,
and you said ADP, right? That was the classic sales B2B boot camp.
Yep. Basically, you're taken by your collar and you're led through it. You're said, here's what you say. I still remember the Pepsi, probe, empathize, present, prove, close part of it. You're going out there, you're talking to customers, you're knocking on doors. I was never the smartest guy in school. I got my C's, I got a couple B's, but I'm always the guy that was out on the field doing the extra reps in football. I was the guy that was at ADP, staying longer, reading the book, do more. I find a building in my territory. Let's go up and down the building. I'll be there next week. Let's do it again. Don't miss a door. Knock on every door. Don't skip it because you're tired. Don't skip it because it's 5 o'clock, because I've been there many times. And I cannot tell you how many times come 5:01, I knock on a door and I get a deal because they're looking. So it taught you that. And it just, that grind is ingrained in me now.
So you were mentioning, so that was real sales, club trips, fast starts, foundational. Then came medical sales. How'd you get into medical sales?
I mean, kind of like everyone, you did ADP. I'm like, I did it for 3 years. I made my clubs for 3 years. I did all the other good stuff. And I'm like, okay, I want more. I want more money. Growth. Well, I got a call from who's now one of my better friends now, best friends, Christian. He gave me an opportunity to go sell the bladder scan. And I got to sell that. And that's my first piece of capital equipment I ever started selling. And I loved it.
Oh, nice.
Found hospitals, again, top to bottom. Every floor could use it. ICU could use it. ER, OB, everyone can use it. Doctors' offices could use it. Took my skills there and started knocking on doors. Doctors, anyone that would talk to me. But took the same skills I learned at ADP and built upon those skills and honed those skills and learned from those around me and other reps and conversations, and just fell in love with it. Because at the end of the day, in medical, what we do, it's more than just the sale. I realized you hear the doctors, you hear the physicians, and the first time I ever got a call from a physician in the ER, I was using the glide scope, and he used that device to save a patient's life. And when you get that call that your device that they were trialing, if it wasn't there, that patient wouldn't be alive.
Wow.
That's that satisfying part inside that brings more than just like, oh, I sold something today. You're providing a benefit back to humanity, to what we do. And that's at the end of the day what we love.
Right. So you mentioned that a friend helped you get into that medical sales. We're often asked, how do I get into medical sales? We obviously say that, the Gallows, ADP, but your network helped get you into that first medical sales job, right? So
he actually became
quick
part of my
note
network.
For everyone out there listening, start building up your network early.
Yep. And that's actually how it works. So Christian was not in my network to begin with. I was sourcing him through recruiters just like you.
Okay.
But he became part of my network and became part of that world where, hey, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And we kind of would connect back and forth throughout our careers and bring each other along, and even would hand candidates back and forth because, hey, they're great for me, but not for you, and vice versa, and became part of that same network for each other. So I went into the interview kind of blind, and it was hard work and grind and determination.
Right. So let's pivot now into ortho, right?
Yeah. So
take us through this next chapter.
Yep. I did capital for many years back and forth from that point of it. And then early, 2014-ish or so, I got into orthopedics with a company called Arthurcare. Did well there, made club there. They were purchased by Smith & Nephew. Had to go work for the big giants at that point and realized I like the smaller companies. I like that grind. I like the 20 different hats. You can't see it behind me right now, but I got 20 different hats set up here and just pick which one to wear that day. And started loving it. And you got to work in ortho, and kind of the orthopedic surgeons, if you don't work with them, if you've never worked with orthopedic surgeons, they are a different type of surgeon to work with. I've worked with all different types, and they make the room fun, from the music they play, from the conversations you have, but everything's still focused on the patient and getting things done. And fell in love with that and just started to do disposables at that point, really a shift from capital.
Yep. Got it. So that took you all the way up through almost to where you are today, right?
Correct. Yeah. I made a shift. And in that time, I had been, pod leaders, managers, district managers, sales managers, and kind of grew my career, went to ConMed, started running the West Coast for them, went to another company along the way there during COVID. Again, trying to build out the network from distributors, transitioned to more of a direct sales force. To then I went back to capital, kind of seeing where the trend was going and liked that idea. And then as we'll kind of get down the road, I think you have it planned for me later on. Some things in my life changed pretty dramatically that I had to make changes and make some choices for myself. And so now I get to do what I love to do. And I get to work again with my best friend. And I get to still work in ortho, but I get to work in disposables. I get to see and work with healthcare and provide the same services and the same support, use the same skills I've learned over life. And the last 20 odd years, I was thinking about it, it's been a few years in sales now, almost 20, 25 plus years.
Okay.
And I get to use it all. So, and my network.
That's great. So we'll just dive right into it. The road was windy and hard, and it included a few heart attacks along the way. Literally, you had a very strong wake-up call life event that happened multiple times. So I know I read about it on LinkedIn. You're very open about it, but please tell us what happened and how others can protect themselves on this.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where, you look at me like I'm a healthy 6'5", active, athletic guy. I work hard. I work out. I do all the things that you're supposed to do. Well, I didn't always do the things you're supposed to do. Like in my 20s, I might have ate a few more donuts, a few more fried pieces of chicken. Taco Bell and Jack in the Box were your friend when you're trying to run from a case at 11. You got another case at 11:30, and you got 15 minutes to get food. You don't got it much in there, so finding that stuff and that part of it, and long hours, ORs open 5:30 in the morning. You're there making sure stuff is set up. You're ready to go. Cases are not ending until 6, 7 o'clock at night. You're knocking on the doors. You're getting paperwork done. And then as you're going to become the manager, honestly, you take on even more responsibility because now I don't just worry about myself. I don't worry about my little world. And this is part of what I think separates the good managers from the great managers. You're caring about their little worlds. You're caring about each rep's world. And so you're taking that stress on. And that becomes a harder part. Yeah.
So you said you hit a wall.
I did.
Hit a wall at some point, multiple heart attacks, pushed too hard. You were trying to outwork.
Yeah. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I was never the smartest, but I can always work. And I worked, 15, 20 hours a day if I could. Worked weekends on a plane every single day. Fly home Fridays, fly out Sundays, shows, conferences, things like that. I'm in Arizona on my way to work with the rep to do a demo. Next thing I know, I'm leaving the gym. I'm feeling worked out. Like, I'm great. I'm good. Like, let's start the day. Let's go. Things are tight. Just okay. Like a lot of stress. Numbers are coming in. End of year's coming. All right. It's just a panic attack. It's just that. Talk my way through it. I show up at the account, and finally the panic attack ends, and I'm convinced to go see my cardiologist at that point. He's like, yeah, it was a heart attack. I'm like, oh. And so it turns out that was the second one that I had. I didn't know about the first one. A month later, I wound up having another heart attack. And so this heart attack led me back to the hospital to get stents put in. I had 4 stents put into my heart, and I was waiting for the 5th one to be put in. So it's kind of like, wow. And the doctor comes in and says, hey, you have a new birthday. You got 4 stents. You got a new lease on life. Live your life. Enjoy it. And
a new birth date. Oh, wow.
Well,
I heard that.
My heart didn't totally agree with that part, because a week later, on February 14th of all days, my heart had another heart attack. And this one was the big one. Again, finished my workout. I'm home, making my calls, getting back into the swing of things, talking to the team, doing everything you need to do, planning ready for a big demo we have up in NorCal, drive myself to the ER, tell them I'm having a heart attack, wind up waking up the next morning at Cedars-Sinai. And when I woke up there, I was being told that my heart was dead. It wasn't going to work anymore.
Hold on a second. You drove yourself to the ER, and then when you woke up, you were somewhere else.
Yeah. We've all been to medical, and I know ambulance times. I know this and that, and I drove myself to the best hospital in the valley that I could find. Like Providence, Rosanna, there was nothing better for me to go to for my heart. So I went to the best one there, and I want to make sure I got there. An ambulance is going to take me somewhere else. I want to go to the best. So I went to the best, and from there, they're connected with Cedars, luckily, and for many, many reasons. If I wasn't go to those 2 hospitals, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
Bring this to life, but this is definitely a first on the Fisher Search Group podcast. If you're just joining us, just tuning in now, my guest, episode 10, is my colleague Joshua Stein, sales leadership, taking us through his career and outworking the competition to a point. He thought he could outwork everyone, and that's not always true. That's now changed his view on life, I'm sure, massively. Health comes first. And now you're sort of in this new chapter. You are in this new chapter in a new opportunity. And it sounds like there's a lot more work-life balance. But I'd love to now shift into what actually matters. And so that's, when you're healthy and you're interviewing, I always say the interview is like, you got to hit a home run. Like you're not going to get that job unless you hit a home run. So let's shift gears now. Third segment. You've interviewed hundreds of candidates. What have you seen? What separates the good from the great?
So for me, the good and the great, there's a lot of things that you can bring to the table. Like, you're going to bring your resumes. You went to this school, you went to that school, you did ADP, all those things. That's great. But how you show up for your interview, that's going to determine a big part for me. Like if you show up and you're in jeans and a t-shirt, I don't care really what your resume is going to say. It shows me a level of professionalism on that part of it. Then we look at, what's your work ethic like? Are you out waking up in the morning? You're going surfing in the morning? Probably not the guy I want for an OR job, because guess what? OR's open at 6 and the waves are crashing around 6:30. So
that's not
really the guy we want in there either. But being open, being honest, can I have that relationship with you where I know I can coach you, where I can work with you, where you and I can build together towards the common goal, and you're going to bring a level of work to it. Because again, hey, there is that work-life balance, but there's that other part of it where there's still the work part of our balance we have to do. And so if you're going to show up and work 3 to 4 hours a day, that's not balance. That is too much the other way. So you got to find that equilibrium where you're getting your work done, so then you can go play. So you can go to Costa Rica, you can go to Argentina, you can go on these club trips, you can go anywhere you want, but you got to have the first part for you.
Yeah.
And that's the big part for me.
Let me recap that for everyone. So the number one is how you show up at that interview, how you're dressed, how you present, how you speak, all those things. Number 2 is just the work ethic. That's always translated through numbers, accomplishments, P clubs, rankings, percent to goal. And then number 3 is coachability, which we've heard that before. How are you interviewing for coachability? How are you going to assess if they're coachable in that interview?
Yeah. So coaching is one of those things where, if you ask any candidate, they're going to say, oh, I'm 100% coachable. Oh yeah, I take feedback. I'm great. I'm this, I'm that. Well, for me, there's only one way I really know it. And I do it through a little bit of a different tactic. It doesn't matter what I'm selling. If I'm selling, igloos to Eskimo, if I'm selling, razor blades, whatever it is, I'm going to give you the product of the day that I'm looking to talk to you about, that we're looking for you to sell, that we want to have this conversation on. And I'll give you, a 1-page, 3-page, whatever brochure. And I'll say, okay, great. Now take your time, whether you want to take 10 minutes or you want to take an hour, take it and learn this product. Because what we're going to do afterwards, we're going to do a role play. And you get to set the role play. You can be the selling, you can be, I'm a nurse manager, I'm the CEO, I'm whatever you want. You set the role play and you control everything around it. And I've had candidates take 10 minutes. I've had candidates take an hour and a half, which kind of knocked on like, okay, it's not War and Peace here. Like we can read it quickly and digest the information, but again, how they digest it, what they're looking for, all things I kind of want to take in from that point. But we then get to the end. We get to the point where we're doing the role play and they're telling me this and they're telling me that. And they're trying to drop the key points and trying to work in some questions and really try to sell the product, which it's hard when you're put on the spot and you're like, wait, you don't know what's going on. You're kind of taken back and you're out of comfort, which is on purpose. Because if I do that, guess what's going to happen when you're in the scrub sink and the CEO walks in and you're like, crap, I got my moment. I'm on the spot.
So they didn't know this was coming. And is this the first interview or?
Usually the first or second interview.
Okay.
It depends on, like, if I've done a phone interview where I screened out some others, then I'll do it at that point.
Like a video or a live meeting?
So I usually will only do it live. Okay. I don't do videos for this because I need to see body language. I need to see how you're studying, what you're doing in between. Like I look at everything along the way here.
Totally makes sense.
To gather pieces of information for the final piece that I go through. So I've had some where they've crashed and burned. I mean, they've been atrocious. But I get what they were trying to do. I get the direction they were trying to go in. I see what they were trying to talk about. So now comes the big part for me.
Okay.
I'm going to tell them, like, okay, here's where we want to work with you on. Here's my feedback to you. When you're sitting there, make sure you're sitting upright. Don't be slouching down like this. Don't be retreating backwards.
Oh.
Be confident. Be confident what you're saying. If you don't know what you're saying, actually, doctor, I don't know that quite yet. Let me get back to you. What's your email? You didn't ask for my email address. What's my phone number? Little things like that we'll pick up on. And it's great. They might learn something in sales 101, 103, 301, whatever. But if they come back and you say, oh, I did ask for the email. Oh, I did do this. Oh, you didn't hear that part. I did do this. And they start arguing with me about pieces that I heard, which, okay, like maybe there's, some back and forth there, a little bit of, well, I thought it this way. No, this, okay, I understand. But you're not taking the feedback. And if I can't give you feedback constructively and appropriately where, hey, maybe I don't say it the right way, so talk to me and give me feedback, I'll learn. But if you don't take it and you don't want to learn and grow yourself, we're not going to work well here at this job. Because my job is to help you grow, give you feedback. You might be the GOAT of salespeople. Guess what? Tom Brady and Michael Jordan still had coaches that gave them tips. So everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs that person to give them the feedback and the input on how to do it. If you're not going to take my input, you're not going to take my feedback, and I can't coach you, you're not going to work for me.
That's the punchline right there. So quick recap. You do a surprise role play. Usually in the second interview, it's usually live. They're not expecting it coming. You give them a brochure. You can say you can take 10 minutes. You can take 30 minutes, prepare. It doesn't sound like you're looking for perfection, though, in the actual delivery. You're looking for how they respond when you give them a little piece of feedback, or I noticed you didn't ask for the email, or I noticed you didn't How are they receiving that so that when you coach them, if they were to be your employee, you could have a good, constructive back and forth, and obviously they're going to learn something and they're going to help and increase and stuff like that. So it sounds like that's
used to be a surprise until now. If they watch this podcast, it won't be a surprise anymore.
It won't be a surprise.
So we'll have to see. Like, I might have to change it up a little bit of what I do with these interviews going forward. But no, that's exactly it. Like, we've all been there in our sales roles and not been the best on it. And people are forgiving and you can work with them. But if you don't learn from it and you don't take the growth opportunity from that, guess what? You got to do it. That's why we got to like you and we got to subscribe to your videos and we got to learn from you and see how to do better.
But bonus points for them for doing the research to watch this episode before the interview. So you'll give them that. All right, jumping to the end of the interview, what is your take on closing?
Sorry. So closing, it is a pet peeve of mine that I love my recruiters. My recruiters are great. You've been great, like sourcing candidates, everyone like that. And then I'll talk afterwards and I'll say, yeah, Joe or Susie or Mary, they didn't close me. And they're like, well, they said they did though. And I'm like, but they didn't. And so
this is very important. Very important.
And this is the key. When the close is, what are the next steps? I'll tell you the next steps, but I never said that you're a part of the next steps.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, and it's the same thing when you go to the doctor and say, hey, doctor, do you want to buy a new piece of equipment? Yes. Oh, great. He said yes to me. I got a yes. I got a yes. You know, I always think of like Tommy Boy in, you know, the fat guy, little suit kind of, you know, and he has this trains going along and they start blowing up. Like, you didn't close them. You didn't get your close.
So I'm going to say, usually I'll advise them to do a pre-close. Any concerns, any hesitations, not do you have any questions? Because they could certainly ask questions, but do you have any concerns, any hesitations? Then you can clarify any of those things. And then once those are all out of the way, then do I have your vote to move forward? Do I have your endorsement? Is that kind of the close you're looking for? Or what are you expecting?
That's a better close than saying, what are the next steps? You know, and I don't mind asking what the next steps are and then asking that part. But for me personally, I am much more of a yes, no person of, am I a person you want on the team? Yes. Am I somebody you see as a part of this organization? Yes. Am I somebody that's going to go to the next step to having an interview? No. Okay. Why? But again, those are like the first two. Those are great because I like you. I think you would work well together. Yeah, I think you do well in the company, but I don't think you're going to do well in the territory. I don't think this is right for you with what we have going on, or different things from that part of it. So I don't want ambiguity left. When I go for a close, when I go to a doctor and I have him sign the dotted line at the bottom, and I want that PO, you need to leave my interview with a PO. And
I like that.
If you don't get the PO, you didn't close.
Okay. All right. That's really gold. That's gold. And there's sound bites in there I'm going to want to clip out because I think people really need to hear about this. Let's jump to the final segment, surprise learnings and reflections. So I guess looking back, hindsight. What a friend. Anything you wish you knew earlier? Any advice you'd like to pass along?
It's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody that I'll say is a little more senior than myself. And it's kind of like, this knowledge that's bestowed upon you as you get older and we get more grays and everything else in our hair. And it's great. But you're like, if I knew that when. So this is one of those things where if I knew when, I wish I didn't live at Jack in the Box and Taco Bell and everything like that in my 20s and 30s, because my heart would still be my heart and not that of another person. And I'm going to take this little moment right now, and I apologize, but if you're not an organ donor, and if you're not signed up, you don't have the little dot on your driver's license, please become an organ donor. You can save 8 people, and that is a magical gift you give to somebody and a family and that part of it. So, but the stress, like making sure you're home on a Saturday, making sure you're truly disconnecting, put your phone down. You don't need to be on your phone at 1 o'clock at your kid's soccer game trying to find out the deal, because guess what? Nothing is going to change Saturday at 1 o'clock and Monday at 7 a.m. It's going to be the exact same things you have going on. No one's going to make any new decisions. You're not getting new information. I mean, I've driven 6 hours on New Year's Eve to get paper signed. And was it worth it? Hell yeah. But sitting there waiting to do nothing and just stressing about it wasn't worth it. So you got to pick your battles. You got to know when to fight. And you got to know when you say, honey, I'm going to come home. I'm going to be there with you and truly be with your friends, your family, whoever it is. But those who are close to you that surround you and give you the love, show up for them. Let them show up for you. And we all find our different ways that we show up and we give. But that is the part that I wish I knew more of and was more aware going forward. Working out, don't get too large, and manage your stress.
Manage your stress. But I love that. What about anything that you wish candidates knew about interviewers? Anything?
I think a lot of candidates show up sometimes, and I get it. It's scary. You're showing up, you're trying to get this job. The recruiters got really psyched for this job. It's X amount of money you're going to get, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to grow. And then you show up to this person you've never met. Well, guess what? That's what sales is. Every single time you show up to a deal, it's somebody you've never met, you don't know. Be yourself. Be relaxed. Be comfortable. Set the scene. You own the interview. I'm there for you. I'm there to make sure with you. I'm not there for myself and like, well, I'm this, like, because I need you. I need somebody to fill this role, because if I don't have somebody good here, guess what? I look bad. So I want to make sure I have a good person, good personality, that's flexible, easy, hard worker. So be you. Don't try to be something else. And then second round, third round, fifth round. That's why we do 10 rounds of interviews, because we want to see you. Show us you.
Yes. Be someone that others want to be around. Also reminds me of episode 6 that we did with my colleague Vince about vulnerability in interviews
100%.
and how, you got to feel it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like you've made it to the interview, right? So you have a resume, someone endorsed you, you have a track record, but now you could just be you and be your authentic self.
And
it's okay.
And to your point there, like I remember post-transplant, I went on a couple other interviews before I took the job where I am now. And I made it to the end with CEOs and everyone else like that. And they were well aware of my health conditions. And they're like, okay, it wasn't the issue. It was, what do I want? And so those are the parts where, like, just be you and be open. And to your point, be transparent. I mean, I've had candidates come in and be very transparent with me.
Yeah. This is Joshua. This has been awesome. Thanks for being real, for giving us a peek into what actually makes a great hire. I love hearing about your interview process. To take it full circle, you told me at the very beginning that glide scope saved someone's life.
Yeah.
And that gave you this enormous pleasure. And then you gave us a pitch about an organ donor saving your life and the pleasure and the gratification that it gave you. So I hope you appreciate that moment.
Yeah.
So thank you for being with us. Thank you for changing people's perspective by listening to this. For everyone listening, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, the subscribe bell if you want to hear more stories like this. If you know someone interviewing right now or hiring, send them this episode. It might just change how they show up at their next interview. So any last final words that you want to share with us? Otherwise, I think we had a great time together.
No, I think just for anyone that's out there interviewing, make sure you got your resumes, make sure they're looking proper. If you're concerned, call a friend, call your recruiter, double check, triple check. Don't be prepared. It's a sales call. If you are prepared for your sales call, be prepared for your interviews the same way.
That's a great piece of advice. Prepare for your interviews like it's the most important sales call you're about to do this year. Awesome. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, sir.
Podcast. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Can you share your experience that you had at Providence Cedars-Sinai Tarzana Medical Center?
I had a couple heart attacks in the last month. I was having another heart attack on the 14th of February. Walked into the ER here. The last thing that I remember was Dr. Lala sitting over me, shocking me back. Later that evening, I was transferred to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
Okay.
And was able to receive a life-saving heart transplant. My life chance was at 1%. There was 99 reasons why I should be dead. And Providence Tarzana was one of the reasons why I'm here. And every member inside that ER and this hospital is part of that. Every person that helped to build this ER, every person that donated $1 to $1,000 to $10,000, they're a part of saving my life. Outside of the staff and everyone here that saved my life, the ECMO device was integral and probably the main thing that kept me alive. I've worked in medical for years, and where I live, there's other hospitals that are closer, but I knew where to go because I knew with the relationship with Providence and Cedars-Sinai and Tarzana and the reputation that there was really only one option for me to come to, that if I'm going to go, I want the best chance. There is nothing better. I get to hug my son. It's life, and I get to have it.